Once you choose your carbohydrate, digestion begins in the mouth. The enzyme, salivary alpha amylase, breaks the alpha-1,4 glycosidic bonds between the chains of sugars. Digestion is also aided mechanically by the teeth and the tongue. Food in the stomach triggers the release of enzymes into the small intestine, such as cholecystokinin. Once digestion is finished in the stomach, carbohydrates pass into the small intestine through the pyloric sphincter. The remaining monosaccharides are glucose, galactose, and fructose. Glucose and galactose enter the enterocytes through the apical membrane. This movement is controlled by an active carrier-mediated transport system called sodium-glucose transport 1. This transporter requires a sodium-potassium ATPase pump. The pump pushes sodium into the lumen of the small intestine and pulls potassium into the enterocyte. SGLT1 binds to a glucose molecule and 2 sodium ions. This allows glucose to passively diffuse through the apical membrane into the cell down its concentration gradient. Free glucose is ushered across the basolateral membrane into the capillaries by the GLUT2 transporter. The capillaries lead to the hepatic portal vein and on to the liver. Glucose in the bloodstream triggers the release of insulin from the beta cells in the pancreas. At the liver, another GLUT2 transporter is located on the cell membrane. GLUT2 absorbs and releases the glucose as needed to achieve glucose homeostasis in the rest of the body. Muscle and adipose tissue respond to the insulin signal by translocating the GLUT4 receptor from inside the cell to the cell membrane. Through GLUT4, glucose is able to passively diffuse down its concentration gradient into the cell. The exact mechanism of insulin resistance is not totally understood. Due to a diet poor in quality and high in excess calories, the body's cells eventually stop responding to insulin. In muscle and adipose tissue, this means GLUT4 does not translocate to the surface of the cell and glucose is not absorbed. The liver senses the low intercellular glucose and begins to make more glucose through a process called gluconeogenesis. This glucose is released into the blood as well, compounding the problem. Type 2 diabetes can be treated through a combination of dietary changes, prescription medication, and exercise. Exercise is a very important non-pharmacological way for diabetics to clear glucose from the blood. Exercise has the same effect on glucose uptake as insulin. The demand for energy during and after exercise stimulates a signaling protein called AMP kinase. AMP kinase, like insulin, promotes the translocation of the GLUT4 receptor in muscle cells when energy is low. As a future dietitian, I understand that the diagnosis of diabetes could be a little scary and overwhelming. So I highly recommend, if you or someone you love is facing this disease, think about making small incremental changes in the diet to improve even maybe 1 serving of fruit or vegetables a day, and starting a small exercise routine that could even begin with taking small, short walks during the day. Also, first, please consult your physician before beginning any new exercise programs. And thank you so much for watching.